Hi, Jordan. Thank you for meeting with me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good.
Before we get started real fast, I just want to take a quick minute to double check. I know when we set up this meeting, we had discussed anybody that might need to be in the meeting. So just as a quick reminder, just want to make sure that it's just you that is involved in benefit decisions. We don't need to pull anybody from HR, or if you just have a partner that would be a part of these decisions, right? It's just you?
Yep, just me.
Okay, perfect. Well, then we're going to go ahead and get started. I just want to tell you that I can be a little bit squirrel brain. I get real excited and passionate about what I do. So I like to have a little bit of a guide that keeps me on track. But also I find that some of the things that I say, it helps just to have a visual for you as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull open this presentation that will help guide us, okay?
Okay, that sounds good. Well, squirrel brain too, so this should be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure that we're using your time valuably here. And like I said, I want to stay on track, and so this just really helps. All right. So just to get us started here, Jordan, I just want to make sure that I recap for you when we set up this meeting, the purpose of it, okay? So really the purpose of the meeting today is just to gain a better understanding of your business and determine if there's areas that Aflac could bring you value, right?
Okay.
Basically have three possible outcomes today. The first one is that we've determined that, for whatever reason, Aflac's not the right fit for your company. If we're going down that path, are you comfortable with saying, no, this isn't for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So another outcome is that we determine, hey, this is a fit. This is something that's going to bring us value. And then a third outcome is that we find that there's some information that we need to gather, and we may need to schedule a follow-up meeting. All right. So
Okay.
if you're good with all of that, then let's just go ahead and dive right in. What I would like to do is just start by asking you some questions
Okay.
about your business. So how long have you been in business?
We've been in business about 8 years now. We started this, gosh, back in I guess what 2015. So I've been doing it since then. Got into it, bought this business from an old family friend of ours. It was one of my friend's parents' business. So I've been doing this for about 8 years now.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about just your employees. About how many do you have? Were they
Yep.
here with you when you bought the business? Have you hired them on? Give me a little bit of a history there.
Yeah, so we started with me and one other person. So it was just a two-man show about 8 years ago, but now we've got 8 employees currently.
8 total, you said?
Yes,
And that includes yourself and your original partner?
yes.
And how has it been over the last 8 years with those 8 employees? Have you pretty much stayed with it as you've hired them? They've stayed on. Have you had to do some replacing over the years? Tell me a little bit about what that's looked like.
Yeah, it's been kind of hit and miss. We've had about half of them are pretty consistent. They've been with us for at least over 3 years. But you know how it is right now. It's a competitive market. We're seeing post COVID, a lot more people come and go. Unfortunately, it's been a challenge for us to kind of keep some stability with three of our guys. But we've had our last three that we've had to hire the last couple years. They've been here for 6 months or longer. So we've got one that's now been here a year, one that's been here 9 months, and then another one around about 7 months. So we're starting to hopefully see some consistency, but we have had some challenges the last couple years.
Okay. And do you currently have any open positions that you're trying to fill?
Yeah, we're actually trying to add one more employee. We've just kind of had a little bit of expansion here and opportunity. We've had a project come in that I think has allowed us to really kind of take on another person. So we're looking to hire right now.
Okay.
It's been tough.
It's been tough. I know that that's something that a lot of employers have been sharing that pain with you on, just filling positions. How long have you been trying to fill that position?
Oh, for about 3 months. It's kind of a newer opportunity for us. So not crazy long, but about 3 months.
And just to kind of explore here a little bit, if you do not fill that position, how is that going to affect you said that you've been able to do a little bit of expansion. Are you guys going to be able to still hang in there and everybody having to work more hours, or what's that going to look like if you don't fill that position?
Yeah, I mean, we're we're gonna make work what we've got to make work. Obviously, the job's got to get done, but I definitely think that having that extra person is gonna make it much more manageable. Definitely, we're gonna have to carry the load if we're not able to find this person. This our contract starts here in the next 3 months, so we got a little bit of time here. So as long as we can find somebody by then, we'll be feeling much better. We can manage, but I'd rather have that extra person.
Okay, that makes sense. What kind of things are you doing in order to stand out from other people in similar industries that is looking for that same new employee?
Yeah, we've tried signing bonuses. I think that's helped us a little bit. I think the last three that we hired, like I said, have really liked that. We try to be as competitive as possible with pay. The challenge that we've been kind of going through is we don't currently have health insurance. When I took over, this was kind of 2015, things of that sort. Obamacare and all that stuff was full force. We were just getting started and growing, and we just weren't able to be competitive then. And each year it just kind of seems we take a look at it, and it's just been a challenge financially for us to put that in with everything else we're investing in our business right now for growth. So, but right now we just try to pay really well, a little bit above the median, I would say, and we give them a little signing bonus here or there.
Okay. Is there any type of tenure that they have to have with that signing bonus before they're able to tap into it?
Honestly, no. We've been pretty flexible with that. We're just trying to get them in. We kind of use that to get them in and get them going and things of that sort. So,
Okay, well, that's good. I was actually just asking that because kind of foreshadowing some of the newer ones that you've added within just the last 6 to 9 months. I'm
yeah.
seeing some businesses who've done some signing bonuses and they have to be around for a little while. And so, really our goal is to work with business owners to help create a strategy for not only retaining employees, attracting employees. So I was just asking to kind of get an idea of what it looked like for you, potentially with those other employees. But if you did it right up front, sounds like that's not going to be too big of an issue for you. So tell me a little bit more about when you were looking at health plans. Is this been something that you've run into where you're having conversations with potential hires or maybe even people who have come and gone and they've expressed that not having that major medical plan has made a difference for them?
Yeah, I think so. And if I think about this, the three people that have been with us for the longest time, they get their benefits through their spouse. So that's been helpful for them. We're trying to find people that are in that situation. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely, it's come up in a lot of our interviews for some of our really high quality people we've been trying to get. But obviously everybody's situation is a bit different. But yes, to answer your question, yeah, I think it's definitely come up.
Okay. And so just to gain a real complete view on your benefit package, you've told me a little bit about it right there, just in regards to not able to offer major medical. Sounds like you do some signing bonus and work on competitive pay. Is there any other type of benefits that you have in place, such as maybe a 401k or life insurance or anything
Yeah,
that you
so
can think of?
yeah, I mean, we've got a 401k. That is one thing that we've been able to do for these guys to try to keep something going. But other than that, we don't have any life insurance. Like I said, a lot of our people get their insurance through their spouse right now, at least their major medical. So yeah, I mean, we really just have a little bit of that retirement.
Okay. And then obviously it's you and 7 other guys, and you're busy, busy, busy. How do you handle just basically like employee administration? So when you have new hires come on and they have new hire paperwork, it doesn't look like you have, obviously there's not an HR department or, so do you have somebody in-house that's helping handle that? Does that all fall on you?
Yeah, so my partner, which is actually my wife, by the way, um, she kind of handles all the paperwork. Like if it was up to me, it wouldn't get done. So she kind of handles all the stuff when they come on board. So yeah, I mean, as far as that, if that's what you're talking about, she handles all that paperwork and tries to get all that done.
Okay. And I was really just trying to get a good view of what it would look like if whenever we talk about benefits, there's something that comes along with having employee benefits in place, and that's just the administration of them. And sometimes that's something that employers can face as a challenge is they want to put something in place. They maybe even have the money to put something in place, but just having the bandwidth to be able to administer it, explain it, just make sure that it's done correctly can be a challenge for them. So just trying to get a good view of how that might look for you. Is that something that you think could potentially be just a little bit of a challenge to look at or to consider? Is that having employee benefits does require some time and effort in administering it? Or do you feel like that's something that your wife will be able to handle pretty well?
I mean, it's definitely some of it. I think that she's a partner and she does those things, but she also has the kids and things like that. So she's pretty flexible. So that's been a part of it, is just finding the time to manage things like that on top of the cost. So yeah, I mean, obviously, again, if it's something that we do end up getting to the point where we can do, we're going to make it work. But yeah, that's definitely been some of the thought behind it, is how are we going to educate and do all this stuff.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you think in regards to employee benefits, anything that comes to mind, things that you've looked at in the past, things that you feel like would be important for me to know?
I get a lot of people asking about dental and vision. So we've thought about doing something like that, but a lot of the dental and vision comes with a health insurance carrier, at least on the little research we've talked about. But we have some people, we've looked at that before, but mainly it's just been health insurance that we've looked at.
Okay. And with the health insurance, you said that basically it's just the financial cost of it is as too big of a burden for you to take on at this time. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, our goal is to hopefully within the next 3 to 5 years be there, but that's been the challenge so far.
And so if you're able to find something in regards to benefits that's pretty stable, very affordable, sounds like your employees are asking, is that something that you would be interested in potentially putting in place for your company, as long as it's financially affordable?
Yeah, I think we're open to any different things that we can do to kind of help here, especially as we're growing and getting these bigger contracts. We need to make sure we keep our people. So if there's something we can do, we'd be open to it.
Okay. Well, let me move into telling you just a little bit more about Aflac here, okay? So first of all, just want you to know that Aflac is a very credible, reputable company, okay? Really consider it the name brand out there, right? When you go to the quick shop and you're looking to grab a soda pop, you're not really like looking for the big K, it's the Coca-Cola, right? And so that's one of the really cool things about Aflac, is that it is a very popular name brand company. On top of that, it has a lot of accolades. There's a lot of things that Aflac does just in the realm of social responsibility. One of the things that attracted me to the company, actually the thing that attracted me to the company, is just the unwavering ethics, okay? And so you'll see here on our list of accolades, the world's most ethical company on Ethispheres. So Ethisphere is kind of like a Fortune 500, but it really just looks at ethics of companies and how they operate. And so Aflac has been on that list since the creation of that list, since 2007. And so when I began working for the company 10 years ago, that was the thing that stood out to me, because I was really looking to be able to work in a business environment, do good for people, but work for a company that just had those unwavering ethics. So that one I think is pretty nice. But overall, Aflac is that name brand to work with. There's also a lot of other things just in regards to Aflac itself. We work with over 50 million people worldwide that are insured with Aflac. Just here in the United States, there's over 440,000 companies that we work with. So it is a very popular benefit. So especially when you're looking at things like staying competitive and looking at what other guys do. Of course, major medical can be a big player out there, but there's also a lot of other benefits that companies put into place. And Aflac aims to be that number one distributor of benefit solutions to the workforce. So some of the things that just get a little bit more personal, and I think apply more, when you just look at your business and the local community, is that Aflac is that personal service. So I'm from right here down the street, right? I think if I remember correctly, the gentleman that I met out front earlier today, our boys play in the same baseball league, right? We see each other at the at the grocery store. And so that's one of the really cool things about Aflac is that it is a name brand company, but it's with that very local service. So you're not having to worry about working with people that are, from out of state or even from the big metro area. They're right here locally, and your employees get that same, that same local guidance as well. So we hit a little bit in regards to just administration, right? And anytime you're looking at putting benefits in place, some of the burden that can come with that. So there's some really simple things that Aflac does to keep it, to keep it basic and easy. We have some systems that you can even utilize that help with employee tracking and employee data on your end. But then as far as the administration of the benefits itself, you're getting a partner to help do that for you. So all of that burden isn't falling on your wife, right? And especially with just her having an already busy schedule and the kiddos and the things that she already does for you, it's kind of nice to know that you can put something in place that doesn't add to that. It's just going to add some value to your business without adding a lot of extra work. So, and then of course, there are a lot of different options in the way that we set things up for businesses, because the reason that I started off asking you questions about your business is because every business is different, right? While most all businesses have employees, and most of those employees are human, the needs of the business vary. And so Aflac has a wide variety of different services that we provide, as well as different plans that we can put in place. There's also, when we look at this, some very important things just in regards to your business, right? And these are some of the things that we see other business owners face, and you're no different, right? You're pretty special in what you do here. You've had a good core group for 8 years, but a lot of employers are facing that same difficulty right now of just getting those spots filled, or even hanging on to some employees because of the competitive market out there, and those signing bonuses that get people, with the flashy momentarily gaining some money up front. And so right there at the top of the list is that maintaining competitiveness, right? And that's exactly what you're looking to do. You're looking to stand out against the other people that are looking to hire that same quality employee that you're wanting to add to your team, to help with that expansion. And so what we do is we help put together some benefit packages that are not as costly as what you're looking at with the major medical, that can help you stand out, so that when you're having those conversations and the employees are asking about things like dental and vision, you have answers for how you provide that. So there's some other benefits that we provide to other employers as well. And some of these may be things that even come into play with your business. So we find that some of our coverage can help with rising cost on things like work comp. For companies that do have major medical plans, we're a very key partner there as well. So if, as you grow your business, you want to continue to look at putting something like major medical in place, we can be a key partner in that. While Aflac does not do the major medical, we have partnerships that can help bring some options to the table for you, and just make it work together with what you are already offering. So, and then of course, when we look at things like retaining your employees, so you said you've lost a few because they've said, I'm needing something in regards to that major medical, right, and you weren't providing that. And so anyway, there's a lot of different ways that we can help business owners. But if I'm hearing you correctly, and so just confirm it for me, really standing out to make sure that you can fill that position and any future positions that may come open, staying competitive so you can retain your workers is your biggest concern. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think right now that's kind of what we're focused on, is getting another quality person and keeping the people we have.
Yep. And in regards to keeping the people you have, one of the things, major medical can be a huge component in financial protection. But when we take that off of the table, there's some other things that you can do as a business owner to help provide financial protection for your employees. And that's really an important thing for you as a business owner, because when your employees go through a phase where they are not financially protected, things happen in their life, right? So they may have to do things like look for a second job. And so if they're having to have an additional job, it can affect their productiveness for you. But it can also cause them to start thinking like, I need a completely different job, right? They're looking for more money or different things to help fill that financial gap. And so when you're protecting them that way, you're really helping protect the turnover within your company as well as just their productivity while they're here working, right? So definitely covered some ways that AFLAC is advantageous to you as an employer. But I do want to highlight a few things in regards to the employees themselves, right? So I was just hitting on that financial protection for them. And it's, you don't have to look very far to know that the cost of healthcare has risen, right? A broken leg costs you more to take care of today than it did 20 years ago.
Yep.
But on top of that, deductibles are now higher than they used to be. There's more out-of-pocket expense. And that is exactly what AFLAC is for helping fill that gap. Because even if you had a major medical plan in place, or for your employees that have coverage through their spouses, if they have something occur, they're still going to have some out-of-pocket expenses, right? Have you mentioned, wife and kids, have you guys ever had anything arise such as a broken bone or
Oh yeah.
So,
I've got 3 boys and they're wild, so we've had plenty of share of that.
yeah, so you know exactly what it looks like to pay some of those out-of-pocket expenses. So then also in regards to for your employees, like I said, there's that local service that they get, but there's a variety of different plan options. Being within your employee's budget is one of the most important things for us. So we're going to discuss some different ways to set up some of the plans that we work with employers on, and some of it can include you providing a portion or all of the coverage, but then some of it can also include some employee expense. So the really nice thing is that we have different levels, different options, so that we can make sure that we're staying within your employee's budget. Because what we want to do is we want to help relieve financial burden, not make things harder day to day, right? And so then, of course, there's also some features with our plans that are really helpful to the employees, such as we pay regardless of other benefits, so they can count on their benefits from their AFLAC policies to pay. We can pay directly to the policyholders. We usually pay very quickly. And then when you get those people that get to that age that they've invested in a policy and now they're retiring, they can still keep that coverage even though they may no longer be an employee here. And then also there's just some plans that are available to them through the work site that are not available to them any other way. So if you didn't make it available to them as an employee of your company, they wouldn't have the option of enrolling. So in regards to basically all of the information about what AFLAC does, why AFLAC, what we do for employees, what we do for employers, you've said that it is important for you to hire this, for this position, right? You've expanded over the years, over 8 years, you've gone from 2 employees to 8 employees. You're currently looking to add another. And I imagine that the goal is that you continue to grow, and over the years you want to retain employees and may potentially be looking to add some. And so it's important to you that you have, not only your competitive pay, but also that competitive benefit package to stand out to those that you're trying to hire, and then of course the ones that you're keeping as well. So since this is important to you as a business owner, like I said, I'm going to go over some different options of what we could potentially put in place for you guys to help beef up that benefit package. But one of the most important pieces of all of this is just what I said, that administration of it, right? We are here to help educate the employees on exactly what's available, what it means to them. The only thing you have to do to be a professional or an expert is be from out of town, right? So if you go tell everybody how awesome you're putting together an awesome benefit package, you're right here. Somebody comes in from the outside and says, hey, we're doing this thing, and Jordan wants to put this in place for you because he cares about you guys, and it just hits different, right? So an important part of our entire process is making sure that if we move forward with putting something in place, that you allow us to handle that education side with your employees. Is that something that you have any kind of hesitancy on?
I mean, no, I think it makes sense. Like I said, my wife would probably appreciate that. You guys will do it, then we'll let you.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that AFLAC can do. And tell me again on the 8 employees that you have. I know I didn't specifically ask. I'm a little bit familiar with your business, but I don't want to make any assumptions here. So out of the 8, are they all within that, 30 to 50 range?
Yeah, we've got a couple that are under 30. I think they're in their mid 20s, maybe later 20s. Everybody else is, yeah, in that 30 to 50 range.
Okay. Families?
Yeah, well, my wife and I, and then everybody else is not family. But
Except
they've
for,
got, are you asking that, or are you asking if these guys have a wife and a spouse and kids?
well, I know for sure you said they got 3 of them that have coverage through their spouses, right? So at least 3. So it's kind of a mix between, but you guys are the only one with kiddos.
No, the 3 that have them have families. They all have kids that have the insurance of their spouses. They have kids, and then we've got one of the other 3 that have children as well. And he's a single dad.
Okay. And any, is there anything that stood out over the years? Like you said, dental and vision, right? So I've got that noted. Have you had anybody that's had any kind of, major health issues that you know or aware of that you would say, hey, if we could have this coverage, that would definitely help with this scenario? That would be something that we're looking for.
Fortunately, we've been pretty healthy, so I'm not sure on that.
Okay, good deal. So, like I said, we work with a lot of different businesses. You're definitely making me think of a group that I just worked with. I'm gonna take a drink here real fast. Just worked with a group who had a pretty similar employee base, a little bit of a mix between families, right in there between, not real young, not getting ready to retire. And so, as you can see here, we offer several different policies. Like I said, we have lots of different coverages just because there's going to be lots of different needs out there. And as we work together, we can grow and evolve this benefit package. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to just offer everything to everybody, right? Because needs vary. And so you mentioned dental and vision, and those 2 are very core products. And the cool thing is that we have those as standalone. So something that's kept you from, if I understood correctly, that's kept you from being able to put that in place is because it's always tied in with that major medical. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we actually have that as standalone options. And so it seems like a no-brainer to me. It was a no-brainer for the other company that I was working with that dental and vision be made available to their employees. So when you're looking at the mix between the families and right in there in that age group, 2 of our other products that are very popular are our cancer policy and our accident policy. And I'll tell you a little bit about why, okay? So you said that you have 3 boys, right? So I have 2 boys. It feels like there should be a punch card for how many times we have to go to the doctor for different little things, right? And so that accident policy, of course, an accident can happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere. But that accident policy can really help with just cover some of those gaps in out-of-pocket expenses when you got the kids in sports and things like that. It's a very popular one. Our cancer policy is one that people don't often think of, right? Because they would probably prefer to not think of it. But I will tell you, out of all of the coverages that we have, that is the one that makes the biggest difference for a person in a time of need. And while we don't want anybody, within your company to have to go through any type of, cancer diagnosis, and especially not anybody in their families, we do know that statistically it's 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women sometime in their lifetime. And especially if it is a child that is going through something like that, that can be really devastating financially, not just because of the cost of the cancer treatment, but because you often have people missing work to be with the child during treatment and things like that. So I just find that if we ever are not making that available to somebody, we could really be, we could just really be putting them in a situation that they could have potentially avoided some financial devastation, because that policy definitely provides some relief from that. So based on our conversation today, those I would definitely go dental, vision, accident, cancer. And then some people will throw in that short-term disability or a life policy as we're getting started. Like I said, what we don't want to do is overwhelm your employees. as I get to know you and your group and as I get to know your employees, this is something that we can evaluate and look at each year and see what's making sense. Are we offering products that they value? Are they participating? And is there something that we should be offering that we're not? What is your thoughts or feelings on the life or short-term disability?
And now, is that short-term disability, like, does it pay only if they're, like, when they get hurt here on the job? Is it off the job? Is it both? Like,
Very good
what's
question.
the coverage on that?
It is off the job only. There is an on the job rider. Let me ask you this, as a business owner, do you waive work comp?
No, we definitely have work comp.
Okay. So usually work comp will help cover if it's an on the job injury. So, the on the job rider can be beneficial to an employee that maybe waives work comp on themselves. But what we would do is look at a setup, and with disability, there's a few things I would highly suggest that you offer it as a post-tax benefit. And what that means is that if the employee is paying for it, that it just comes out of their check after taxes. That way they don't have to pay taxes on any benefits that they receive, and you don't have to pay taxes on that as well.
Right.
But definitely it covers their income if they are hurting or sick and cannot work. And that, definitely if it occurred off the job. So is that something you think you're interested in?
I think we probably want to take a look at something like that, yeah.
Okay. So I'll put down the disability, accident, cancer, and then we'll do dental and vision.
Okay.
So another really nice thing that Aflac does is that when we partner with a business on our benefits, we have something that we call value-added services. So there's some things that we can do for you that just, again, beef up that benefit package that are no cost to you and no cost to your employees. Aflac actually funds some of these benefits. And the really cool thing is that we can bring it to your employees as a provided benefit, something that's definitely not costing them anything out of pocket. And so one of the ones that stick out to me is it's a telemed. Okay, so if you have it can't be, things like broken bones, but like ear infections, a rash, things like that, you can actually call in, speak with a licensed health provider. If there's a prescription or something like that you need, they often get that sent over. And there's just a copay for that visit. Instead of having to pay a $80 office visit, take off work, go in, things like that. And so this telehealth service is one that's very popular that we can provide. We do some things in regards to financial management, some wellness programs, and then even some identity protection. So if you think any of those, you want me to dive deeper on something that maybe sticks out to you. Otherwise, I would recommend, let's get you a value-add service for partnering with us, but let's do that telemed that's going to provide them some coverage. So if they don't have major medical, they still have a means of speaking with
And you said that doesn't cost me anything?
It does not. No, it does not cost you or your employees. Like I said, it's an Aflac funded program that we provide to our partners, just as being a partner of ours and offering Aflac benefits on worksite.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so basically we've got those questions covered. Now here's another one that arises, and that is in regards to just cost and setup. One of the really cool things about Aflac is that it's very flexible in how it's funded. But you've taken a look at major medical before. You've obviously gone down this road and thought about what you could afford. So I'm just going to ask Jordan, what is it that you feel like that you could afford to put towards each employee per month in regards to benefits?
What is like an accident policy or the dental and vision run? Can you give me an idea? Like, what are we looking at? Like, if I spend the $200 or the $100, like, how far is that going to get me on some of these benefits? Does that make sense?
Right. So at the $200 level, you would definitely be covering an accident policy, dental and vision. I highly recommend that you do a dollar amount, right? And don't worry so much about necessarily the coverage itself, just because the setup can vary cost-wise in regards to, are they covering a family? You may have some people who have a need for vision and others that don't. And so the nice thing is that they could, if they don't have a need for a vision plan, they could reallocate that towards, maybe a cancer policy. or an accident policy. But at that $100 range, again, you're still going to cover a accident, dental, and vision. I believe those are the three that you asked about. You're definitely going to cover at least 3 policies. Really, you're probably looking closer to 4. Some of it, again, is just going to depend on are they looking at covering a family or individual. So
Okay.
is that about where you are thinking, is somewhere in between that 100 to 200 range?
Yeah,
per
I'd
month
say
per
if we're going to
employee?
do something right now, that's something we could probably do something close to that. Yeah.
Okay. And this is a really nice example too, just for something for you to think about, is in regards to how you spend money as an employer. So that $100 is essentially like giving all of your employees a 58-cent raise. But if you was to give them a 58-cent raise, they're taking home less than 58 cents per hour, right? Because it gets taxed. It's actually costing you more than 58 cents an hour because you're paying additional taxes on it. So this is a way to make that money that you're giving your employee go further because of the way that it's handled with taxes, because it is in regards to medical health coverage. Right? So there's tax benefits with it, which make it really nice. So when we get to the end here, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we know how we're moving forward. And so I can understand that there's a little bit of a range here. So be thinking on it, because I'm going to ask you, we want to nail down this number. $100, Jordan, will go really far for your employees. I would say that this is the first time that you're putting something in place. So I wouldn't, you can always raise it up, right? Like if we're looking next year and we're saying, hey, what would be really great to bring in this year is a life policy or something. And maybe you decide I can get closer to that $200 or $150. You can always add to it. It's very hard to give a contribution and then take away. So just make sure that you know what you want this number to be, because we want to make sure that we communicate that clearly going forward.
Okay.
So in order to get started with Aflac, it's pretty simple. There are going to be some steps that are involved here, and just so that you know exactly what that looks like, is, like I said, one, we're going to want to know what is the contribution from the company going to look like, right? If your employees are wanting to sign up anything over that contribution, are you comfortable with us payroll deducting the difference?
Yeah, that'd probably be fine.
Okay. So it's really a pretty basic, you just set it up in their payroll as a deduction. It'll depend on the plan. Like I said, a disability, we want to deduct post-tax, but we'll make it very clear. We'll communicate with you exactly how everything should be set up. If I work with your wife on that, if she usually takes care of those kind of things, I'm right here to help you through it all. Okay.
Okay.
So essentially there's a pretty quick account activation that we do. It's all online. So you sign electronically online, but we just make sure that we have your business verification, that we have all the information correct on your company. And then we need to set up dates to educate your employees, and then take their enrollments for what they're wanting to move forward with. So the education of your employees looks like typically a group meeting. Okay. You can do it where it's one-on-one. We want to be really efficient because we know that you guys are busy. And so usually that group meeting allows us to communicate exactly what this is that you're bringing to them as a benefit. Let them know what their options are. It's really nice to do that on like a Monday or a Tuesday. We send them home. We come back on a Thursday and sit down with them one-on-one. Usually it's a 15-minute conversation, but that's allowed them to take everything home, talk to their spouse, know what their questions are. We go through, we get their elections accordingly. And if I can, prior to that meeting, basically just get all of the basic information on your employees in regards to just their names, phone numbers, address, so we can have it ready to go in the system, it makes all of that go that much faster as well. And then following that, we just schedule a time where you and I meet, 30 minutes tops, just to make sure that everything went accordingly, right? Like what you expected, get you all the information, meet with your wife. We just make sure that going forward, you know exactly what to expect and how it will look. So do you have questions on that process?
I don't think so.
Okay. So what we would want to do today is go ahead. Do you have time right now to do that account activation setup? It's usually pretty quick, probably take us under 5 minutes.
Sure, we can do that.
Okay. Before we hop into that, let's look at the calendar. Do you guys ever do any type of like safety meeting or a regularly scheduled meeting with all your employees?
We do Mondays. I mean, Monday mornings we meet and kind of go over the week and tasks and things of that. So we meet
Okay.
Mondays.
Would it be possible to take 15 minutes out of that Monday meeting to explain to them the new benefit package that you put together for them?
Yeah, I think we can make that work. When are you thinking?
Let's see. This following Monday is the 19th. What time do you guys meet? Is it usually first thing in the morning?
Usually about 8:30 is when we get them in here and finally get them round up. Let them
Okay.
get in and kind of get in here, and then we kind of do our roundup meeting at 8:30.
Okay. I could do 8:30 this following Monday on the 19th. I would just need to be out of here by 10, but that shouldn't be a problem at all because, like I said, it's usually just a 15-minute group meeting.
Okay. Yeah,
So
we can do that.
19th at 8 a.m. And then if I came back that following Thursday, so that's the 21st, I could just come get set up. Do you have a good conference room or an area that's private so that if they have questions, they're comfortable asking without others overhearing?
I just have to use my office, so we don't have anything like that. But they could use my office if they needed to.
Okay, and you're comfortable with that if I set up in your office on Thursday the 21st? We'll
Sure.
just there's 8 of them, and it'll probably only just take us a couple hours. Like I said, usually it's about 15 minutes with each. I'll make sure on Tuesday that they have the information that they can visit with their spouses and that they know I'm coming back on Thursday, so that we can
Okay.
make sure that we get them enrolled in the coverage that they
Okay.
see fit. Okay,
Okay.
first. All right, let's hop over and do this account activation. Like I said, what are you thinking in regards to are you doing $100 per month, or are you wanting to go a little bit higher right now?
Yeah, I like what you said there. I think it'd be good to start a little bit lower, and then we can always up it instead of starting higher and maybe getting a little bit uncomfortable with that and having to.
Yep.
I don't want to do that to them. So I think we can do the 100. That seems reasonable. And I like the fact that we're doing dental and vision and some other stuff. So we'll do the 100.
Perfect. And Jordan, we will sit down each year about this time of year. Actually, we'll start probably a couple months before this time of year, and just assess everything, see how it's going, and we'll look and evaluate that $100 each year that way. Okay.
Okay.